Like AI is never going to replace the human connection. This is the way we see it today.
And today we're going to be talking about why coaches are losing to AI. And you might not even know how to get started. And this is part of the reason why they're saying in the business world that if you're not using AI, or leveraging AI for your business, you might be left behind in about 3 years. And also those coaches who have a full-time job and they're kind of making their way into the coaching. This is also a huge big news for them, because the thing that used to take 10 times more time, you can do it in a tenth of the time.
Hey, it's Daniel, and you are about to watch a clip from our free podcast, The Coach's Journey, where we help you navigate the surprisingly difficult path of building a coaching business by people who are actually doing it. And we go live, raw, and unedited every week in our free Facebook community.
All right, coaches, super excited to be here on the Coach's Journey podcast. As I don't know where this expression came from. We're the coaches, what do we call it? The Coaches Nation. The Coaches Nation. We're super excited to be here with you. And today we're going to be talking about why coaches are losing to AI. We all know that AI is playing a huge part in transforming pretty much every industry, and coaching is no exception to that. It has an effect on the marketing cycle, on the sales cycle, on even the delivery cycle, and how you build and continue to build a relationship with clients. So it has an effect on the kind of referrals you get, how you get referrals, how you deliver coaching. And it might even have an effect on your coaching skill sets if you leverage it positively, or use it the wrong way. It can have a negative effect on your skill set. So we'll cover all that, whether you're a starting coach, beginner coach, or you're a more experienced coach. This is something you should be following, you should be actively working through, because it is something that is going to affect all of us in positive and negative ways. So I want to jump into that. Daniel, I know you're big on AI and you're big on coaching. So what is your starting take on this?
I think, AI is like super convenient and fast for a lot of people, right? Like first of all, like you get answers right away. You can brainstorm with it. You can even get reflection in there. You can start a structured plan. You don't need to schedule it. You don't need to wait. You don't need to pay a coach. You can pay $20 a month and get a ChatGPT subscription, and that's pretty fast and convenient. It's really convenient, and that's really powerful. I mean, you have like more power in your ChatGPT subscription than most rulers of the world had, like even 10 years ago, in terms of like
Yeah.
processing power and ability to process information. Like that's crazy. It's totally insane. Like, now rulers of the world, of course, they had like entire, empires of people working for them, so that maybe they had an approximation of that. But like the speed and complexity that is possible with AI, like there's so much, right? This is like totally breaking new ground. So it makes sense that like people are going to use that. Of course, people are going to use that. And like all the information of the world is at your fingertips now. Everything. Of course, it matters where it's getting that information from. Of course, we can talk about that whole rabbit hole as well. But like a lot of information is at people's fingertips. So like I think one of the biggest challenges for coaches here is like many coaches are like pride themselves on the information they have, right? And I've been there as well. It's like the certification I have has all these tools, it has all this information and knowledge. It's about knowledge, they just need more knowledge. But knowledge is like a commodity now. Like information and knowledge doesn't matter anymore. You can get it anywhere. So like if your job as a coach is just to teach knowledge and information, then you've got a problem with AI, right? So like you're not going to be able to I don't think the information business is actually gonna be the same way it's gonna be ever again, because like a lot of the information is very widely available. You can create your own customized information plans based on your specific situation. So like you don't actually need information as much as you need transformation, like to take you from where you're at today to a whole new way of being and thinking. That's not the same thing as learning new things. And so if you're just like focusing on like frameworks or like mindset information, or like teaching people things, AI can deliver a lot of that, I think. You have to create deeper behavioral change with your clients and deeper transformation, and that takes time. You can sit with AI for 15 hours and not get somewhere where you could got in an hour with the right person. So like I want to also point that out. is like somebody who understands the transformational part of being a coach really deeply because they've practiced it. And clients who've gone through it get it. Like a lot of my clients, they're doing a lot of stuff with AI that some of that stuff we used to do, but there's other stuff that they're not able to do, right? And I'm not saying that AI will never be able to do some of that stuff. Absolutely, it could. But a lot of what we need to think about is the things that AI can't provide, which is like, think about it, like taste and judgment, and human lived experience, credibility of that experience. Like there's a power there. And also that presence. Like if you think about energy, right? Like your energy on a call is different than an AI's would be, right? Like you're chatting with ChatGPT, it's not going to be the same as if you're talking in front of a person. Like AI is never going to replace the human connection, the way we see it today. And now it does offer alternate forms of connection. Like people are having relationships with their AI, and that is interesting. But it's not the same as a coaching relationship. And it can be. It can't like there's like it's yes and no to like is this the same as coaching? There's parts of coaching that it is, and there's parts of it that it isn't. And just like the human experience, the AI experience is different, and it brings something different to the game. And so part of it is like figuring out like who am I as a human and what am I bringing to this game, and what energy and container can I create that is unique and powerful with my own experiences and superpowers. There's a lot in there that you might discount if you think AI is going to solve everything. So I'll pause there because there's it's just so much in here.
So you threw everything kind
I
of
yeah I,
in the
I went like a
mix.
mile a minute. I know.
Yeah, which is good. So it gave us the kind of the landscape, but let's break it down because coaches listening to this, I mean, this is also a framework, part of our framework in our community as well, is that they're either working on or struggling with the marketing side, or they're working on or struggling with the sales side, or they're working on struggling with the coaching skill set side. And so, where does AI come into each of these areas? What is the impact of it in each of these areas? Where
Yeah.
can we leverage it better? And where can we leverage more of the human side and
I think
amplify
I was
that
thinking about
more?
the coaching side of myself, the coaching skill set. That's really where I was thinking about. But those are also important areas that you're talking about.
Yeah, so and we'll come to the coaching skill sets, but nobody's gonna want your coaching skill set if you cannot market your skill set to people, you cannot sell it. And then, of course, take them through a transformational journey when they are part of your product. But the biggest challenge that coaches have is to how do I go from sitting here behind my computer to connecting with a person and then taking them through the journey so they can go from a potential client to a client. And how has AI impacted that? So what would you say on the marketing side? How has it impacted the industry, and how does it impact coaches potentially?
That's a great question. Like, so let's focus on marketing. So there's a lot of marketing in the online world, and especially in the coaching world. And I think marketing comes in so many different flavors for so many different situations. And I think myself included, coaches can easily become prey to marketing that is not appropriate for what they're doing. Like all the marketing systems out there, these programs that like we're going to market for you. Even CMC, we've done some marketing that really was not appropriate for us. And part of the learning is that marketing doesn't mean the same thing for coaches as it means for other businesses, and even across coaches, it means different things. Marketing actually needs to be attuned to like the kind of visibility that you as a coach need to be creating that is aligned with your business model and with who you are and what you're building as a coach. And a lot of times you're like, okay, you need ads. Okay, I need to do ads. Okay, let's go do ads. But ads has nothing to do with what you need to do right now as a coach, maybe. I need to do webinars. Okay, maybe webinars isn't the right strategy. There's so many different like marketing tools that you could use. And ChatGPT will tell you all the marketing tools. They will tell you like whatever you use, you ask them, right? That's the curse and the benefit of AI is that like whatever you ask for, it'll give you. It'll give you all the different marketing ways you can market. Somebody came to our session for paid members today, and like there's 10 different ways that I was thinking of doing marketing. And we're like, okay, well, hold on. Let's talk about these different ways and which ways are a good short-term fit, a good medium-term fit, a good long-term fit. Marketing as a whole is has always been like a giant like chaos of marketing techniques, tactics, and strategies that aren't always appropriate. And now like we're going to the AI, I would call it marketing apocalypse, where AI is going to make it so much easier for them to reach coaches and offer these marketing things that aren't actually effective for where the coaches are at. Because at the end of the day, whatever marketing you're doing is supposed to get people on calls with you. And if the marketing doesn't match what you're doing on the calls, it's not gonna work very well. And if the marketing actually doesn't align with your ability to create clients out of the people that you meet, it's going to be a failure most likely. Yeah, maybe you can make some accidental coaching sales, but like turning up the ads when your offer's not working, when your process of connecting with people aren't working is actually not a great plan. And now with the AI marketing apocalypse, right now is the time that we all need to be serving more. And that means making yourself more visible in the ways that make sense to your business. It doesn't mean necessarily doing the things that everybody's telling you to do from a marketing perspective. You know what I mean, Faisal?
Yeah. And then you kind of covered the organic, and there are different ways to approach it, but basically it's organic and paid marketing, and it will help you with paid marketing. But the problem is that if you don't know who your ideal clients are, that will not help, because who are you directing these paid ads to? And you haven't tested your messaging, and you haven't tested your offer and the sales cycle. And that's why you could hire a marketing agency, will give you 1,000 different leads, but you don't know until you take them through your whole sales process whether these are the right leads. And it will just, you could be experimenting with that for 6 months to 1 year and not know where you are. But for most coaches, organic marketing works just fine. And like you said, there's so many different ways to do this. And this is part of the reason why we don't go too much into this as a starting point with coaches, because they will have to be customized to what the final outcome is. If you're trying to build a bigger brand, you will likely need to do some form of social media and have some kind of bigger marketing funnel. You have a team, likely, all that stuff. But if you're trying to get 8 to 10 clients, you might not need to focus on that as much. You might need to do other things, but there are certain advantages. For example, AI brings. So, for example, if you take two
Hmm.
coaches and both coaches are at a similar skill level. Both coaches are putting themselves out there in person. And then one of those coaches is using AI to also make himself or herself very visible and builds credibility through AI content creation, and is able to come up with a process to attract people while he or she is connecting with people in person. I can almost, in short term, it might not make that much of a difference, but medium to long term, all of a sudden, this coach with visibility might completely take over the other coach. And so that's the big leverage point that has come in, is that now in the past, the thing that could take bigger teams, a lot of testing, has you still have to test it, but now it's come down to a tool with essentially, I have business owners who are coming to me, is like, well, my team, and we're not talking about people team, they're talking about their agents,
Yeah,
which is
so I got
very
you.
interesting. Those who know how to create them, they're actually using agents to build parts of their business. And of course, they're in the testing process of it, but let's say they make it work compared to the other person who cannot make it work, you will be kind of outrun by the other. And that's what they're warning around, is that somebody using AI versus somebody not using it strategically, of course, not randomly. In about 3 years, you might be completely outrun by that business owner, even though you might have very similar skill sets on the coaching side.
Yeah, and actually, I do think even that visibility can make a difference short term because if you're in so like I want to distinguish the short term versus medium and long term. The short term game for a coach is always to be in conversations. It's conversations, 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 having discovery sessions, getting referrals through that process of discovery sessions and clients signing up, getting referrals. That's a really relational way to approach coaching that will always work to some degree. And it has always worked, like word of mouth, relationships, building trust that way has always been an effective way to build your business. Today, though, with the advent of AI, the visibility that you have is can be much higher if you are using AI to help you overcome the bottlenecks of creating content. Not saying create generic slop content out there, but AI can help magnify your voice and amplify your voice in your stories, done well. It can actually lend credence to anybody who's in that short-term conversational process with you to see like what are you all about. If they have a session with you and they want to work with you, but they're like, let me look them up. Let me look up, and they look at your social media, they look at your LinkedIn. and they find out like what have you been posting about? Like, are you a real thing? Are you serious? And they can find out more. Not to say that that's required. You can probably still sign them, but it's so much easier than it used to be to do those things if you do it well with AI. I mean, it's a lot easier also to do a lot of slop content. That's what I call the AI marketing apocalypse. Is like all the slop is going to come out and like overwhelm everybody, and no one's going to listen to anything online anymore. It's already starting to happen. Like I think LinkedIn will become a smorgasbord of AI content, and it's going to be really hard to know what's real and what's not. Which is why the relational short game of coaching really matters even more right now. And as you start building up this profile online version of yourself that people get to see, as you start building your short-term game up, it's just going to enhance that. Because ultimately the AI needs to be something that magnifies your business, not hurts it. Like you don't want to be generic because they'll probably not align with anything you're doing with your clients. So like I feel like there's two different sides of AI. One is like the apocalypse of AI slop and the challenges that AI will bring, but also the other side is like the power of AI in helping you build your business and helping you think about the different parts of your business and the content that you could
So,
create
so
yourself.
specifically on so if we were to give those two scenarios, one is a coach who is kind of hidden in the background but is doing well with conversations, and then the other coach is also doing well with conversations, but then that coach has a really good marketing system going in the background using AI. Who do you think
Mhm.
will have the advantage here?
Yeah, the advantage will be with the other one, the one that's the second one, because they have the marketing engine going. And there's two reasons for that. One is that that marketing engine will be working for them behind the scenes, and it'll actually start helping them create those new conversations faster. And two, the energy that they spend on marketing will go down over time because they've learned to market well with their systems and AI so that they don't have to spend that time thinking about like who am I not following up with. All the marketing systems are in place. And AI can be a big part of that marketing system to make it effective and even hyper personalized and authentic to that coach. So it aligns with what they want their voice to be. So like that second person will have a huge advantage for so many different reasons.
Yeah, and it compounds over time because AI systems are getting better, agents are coming into the picture, like all kinds of automations are going to come into the picture. So whatever that coach or that business owner learns with their team, it compounds in the next few years versus let's say this person starts 3 years down the road, you have a lot to catch up on, and you might not even know how to get started. And that's part of the reason why they're saying in the business world that if you're not using AI, or leveraging AI for your business, you might be left behind in about 3 years. And also those coaches who have a full-time job and they're kind of making their way into the coaching, this is also a huge big news for them because the thing that used to take 10 times more time, is you can do it in a tenth of the time. This is part of the reason why we started recommending even coaches who don't necessarily need to be as visible because they can build their business with conversations in the beginning. Now I'm starting to recommend no, still do that because it's not taking as much of a time. You can do it with an hour time versus 10 hours time because coaches were spending 10 hours a week trying to build content, visibility, and that stuff. I'm like, no, that's not useful in the beginning. But now, if you can take an hour to do that and you build on that, that gives you a huge, if you test it out and you start to build it, you start to create engagement and connect with people. In fact, we had a coach in our community last week who had been testing a system for the past 6 months, and he's created a huge amount of engagement on LinkedIn, and now he's getting leads from there. Like that wouldn't have been possible with his level of skill set without AI before. But now it is possible.
Yeah, and that just enhances his ability to do those relational calls, right? And the
Yeah.
more you can get those calls on the calendar and follow it up automatically, the more credibility you have, the people look you up, the easier the sales become, right? But more importantly, the easier you can have people believe and in what you could do together as a transformational process rather than resist and worry and wonder, right? So that, even for me, like I haven't had traditionally a very huge social media profile, but it's starting to develop now. I'm starting to do more posting, and there's a consistency muscle there too. Like even though I'm using AI, it's the consistency muscle. One of the muscles is like getting out there and posting. And some of the times I intentionally don't use AI, and some of the times I intentionally use AI because I want to be able to not only train my own brain as to what I'm talking about, but also I want to be able to leverage AI to be authentic to what I'm saying. And so there's lots of different ways we can do that. But that's the marketing bubble, right? Like the other part is the sales process, right? And so like the sales process for a lot of AI sales will be done pretty I want to say robotically with AI. It can be hyper personalized. It can seem personal. But at the end of the day, when it comes to coaching, like you're having conversations. And I think what's going on in coaching as well as across the board is people are rethinking what the human provides, right? Like if you're a human coach, like what is a human coaching good for, right? It's like the cheap insight, the easy stuff, the like did you do your homework stuff is different from high value human depth and experience that can be brought to coaching. And I think that's sort of changing the game with coaching. And so
So let me pause you there. So I
yeah.
can imagine a person looking for a coach and they go to ChatGPT or Claude or something and give their concerns, and then they also, let's say they have access to a coach and they go to ChatGPT or Claude or something and give their concerns, and then they also, let's say they have access to a coach, they go to a coach, and if they compare the two, and let's say ChatGPT is doing similar to the coach or better, you're screwed as a coach there. That means that you haven't updated your skill set and you're not in line with, okay, you should be thinking about that. Where do humans come in where ChatGPT fails? You should be experimenting with that even as a coach. Be like, let me get this thing to coach me, see where the short, like, what do I feel? What do I not? And then bring in the humans. If you're not doing that stuff, you don't know what your clients are doing. Your clients might be way ahead of you.
Yeah, and I find that like you can also like find out from AI, well, what did you think about that session? And the AI will tell you like here's what you did, here's what you covered, here's what you missed, and the AI will tell me things, and I'll be like, yeah, some of these are actually right, some of these are wrong, but it's getting better every year. It's so much better, right? So like next year it's going to be even better. And so what is a human going to bring to coaching is a real existential crisis for a lot of coaches, I think.
Yeah, and,
Um,
and especially if you're behind the curve, and this is why I think coaches who have worked hard on the mastery part, they will know how to update their skill set because they're not so attached to the rudimentary, the surface level of skill sets to coach it because they've developed better tools, better approaches, they've experimented with it. And so they can look at that and be like, oh, I can easily outsource that. In fact, they look at AI as a leverage point a lot of times. And I look at that in my calls. I'm like, oh, well, just like you said, like the things that I used to do with my clients, some of those things I don't do, and because I tell them, hey, just input that into AI, it'll give you a better answer than we can. Let's move on to this part. So it actually accelerates the behavioral change that you were talking about because ultimately they're paying me for a specific outcome. If I can get them there with AI or without AI, I'm going to do it. But I'm the one who's directing them rather than them going into a lot of times it's like, thank you for introducing me to this. Thank you for pushing me to use this. Thank you for like great. And but they're also thanking me for moving them through this process as well. So really important. Now, if you're behind on that curve, you've just gotten started and you don't know how to improve your skill sets fast enough, you're struggling in that space because now you're kind of not just competing with humans, you're competing with AI.
yeah, and so are you in the game? Is I think part of the question you're asking. Like you need to be in the game right now as a coach. You need to be in the game working with AI yourself so you can help guide clients with AI. Guiding clients with AI in their lives is actually a really valuable skill set, especially right now, this year. I think there's a huge window of opportunity for coaches who understand AI well to be able to leverage that with their clients, as Faisal was talking about. There's a lot of sessions where I like, hey, let's I'm gonna pull up ChatGPT, we're gonna work through something here in AI. And like one time I actually took we did a discussion on something and I said, like, we talked about a lot of things. Did you capture all that? And they're like, no. I'm like, hang on a second, let me show you something. So I exported the chat directly from you to Zoom, and I said, like, I'm going to pull this transcript, this last little piece. I took the last 10 minutes of the transcript, say here, which is where we talked about that topic, pumped it into AI, and then had AI structure a list of all the things that were really critical to that conversation. Here's the 5 things that you talked about, and here's the things that went underneath, because it was a little bit all over the place in the conversation, but this got its structure. And they're like, whoa, how did you do that? Right. And it's just the capability of AI to take information and structure is very high. But the value of having the conversation would not have gone that way with just an AI involved. Like the art of the conversation is different with a human, and I think coaches aren't competing with AI because AI is human. The part that they're competing with is the part that was pretty machine like to start with. The structure of an AI conversation is not the same as the structure of a human conversation. So the
Yeah,
more
and
human we can be, the more valuable I think we're going to start being as coaches.
so if you look at it from the top of your business, which is marketing, then sales, then delivery, the closer you get to delivery, the more human component you're gonna have to bring into it. So it's actually a lot easier to leverage AI in marketing than it is in the delivery area.
Right.
And this is why it becomes a leverage point. So are you leveraging it in marketing? Are you leveraging it in parts of sales? You might not be able to do it in all areas, but getting feedback, getting improving your getting feedback from AI, and of course thinking through it, but also in your conversations back and forth, improving the language, getting better summaries for clients, pulling out areas from your session that you can send back to them on follow-ups. Lots of things you can, and then eventually there'll be other things as you move forward. But the closer you get to delivery, the more human it's going to become, especially, and it's going to always land in a coaching conversation. What's happening there? And the hard question I'm going to ask, and this is hard to admit it with ourselves, when you're in a conversation with a client, or a potential client, by the end of it, how confident do you feel that you've delivered a very high level of value? And usually that comes from them. And of course, the end point is, are they investing in your program? But even throughout it, you can actually feel that out as a coach, be like, hey, did I
You can
actually
feel it.
really deliver value or not? We all
We've all
know
had
when we
sessions
get
where
to
we're like, I did not do a
like
great job.
something didn't we usually have an intuitive feeling around that.
Yeah.
Something didn't land here, and then we're like, okay, what did I do here? What felt off? But if you don't feel confident, on average, of course, you're not every session is going to go great. But on average, if you don't feel confident as a coach, and also you don't see consistently people investing in your program, then there's a problem, because that problem is gonna get compounded with one, other people using AI, two, AI itself becoming more and more powerful. So then where are you getting your feedback? How are you accelerating your mastery of the skill set if you're gonna be in this field longer term or long term?
Yeah. I mean, the coaching is the kind of like profession, I would say, that actually forces you to become better and better at everything that you're doing. In business, in communication, in, well, I mean, the coaching skill set itself, but also in interaction with interacting with others and figuring out where the value for people is. You just get better and better at that. And people show up differently to a human to human call than they do with an AI chat interaction. And if you can see where you can show up as a human uniquely, who you are, what you bring, your ability to create a space for somebody to feel that ability to reveal or to allow for that wisdom to come in. Like there's a whole spiritual component of coaching that, is different with AI, that it will be difficult for people to show up in the same way as they could show up with you. So how are you leveraging that unique human piece of it? And again, the sales process that you take people through is relational. So when you meet somebody, you get on a call with them, you have a discovery call with them. That discovery call will demonstrate your ability to hold space, to be that human in the room. And if you're the human in the room that is seeing them in a way that nobody else can, suddenly like the conversation changes. And I think there's still time in the market for you to get really, really good at that. And that means you have to like really step it up now. If you're holding back and you're waiting, like now's the time.
Yeah. Yeah, whether you have a job or you're doing this as a like you're in the beginning stages, or you're in the medium stages, or you have advanced skill set, but you don't yet know how to translate that into business. And we do that in our community consistently. Uh, and the way we help accelerate coaches is that we put them in an implementation process. We don't get them to gather more information, gather more quote unquote knowledge. We get them to gather more experiences. We get them to test out what's happening, and then they come back to the community to see what's working, what's not, and we're all learning from each other consistently. And it's a community of coaches who are consistently pushing themselves, challenging themselves to build their business and serve clients at the highest level and continue to go towards mastery. And if you don't have a community like that, and you're always around communities who are, nothing wrong with certifications, but you're always in certifications or marketing classes or sales classes that's not related to the kind of coaching that you're doing, then you're going to struggle to level up as you move forward. And if you're hoping that your job will keep you, pretty much every job is gonna be replaced at some point. Some point. We don't know when that is, but even jobs that were like executives are scared of their jobs these days. Forget about it. Like high level positions are scared, and I'm working with them. They are like, if I don't change this, like I know beyond a shadow because they're using AI right now. It's like it's not far-fetched for them to see that 2 years later the company will catch on, or 3 years later, or 4 years later catch on and use
Or less.
or less. We don't know where that journey is, but for sure, 5 years later, the whole job world is gonna completely transform. How, we don't know yet. But so if you're waiting for that secure job, it was never secure to begin with. Now it's not secure at
There's
all.
probably no
And
such thing
second,
anymore, right? You have to create it for yourself, which
yeah,
is why I think coaches have the advantage because as entrepreneurs, you're learning how to create value and live in the
directly in the
market
marketplace.
and get value into a marketplace where people are willing to pay for. That's hard for most people who have a job. They've never done that before, right?
Yeah.
The closest they've come is interviewing and demonstrating value and getting somebody to commit to hiring them, which is different from being an entrepreneur. And that transition for all of us coaches is really hard to understand.
Yeah, for sure. And this, I mean, this is the time. If you've been slow up until now, and especially if you're a coach, you're sitting behind your computer thinking that AI is just going to build your business. It's not going to happen. Just like we've talked about it, AI can take you towards all kinds of rabbit holes. It does not replace experience in business. It does not replace experience in life. And this part of the reason why I love what you said before is that coaching forces you to grow as a human being, and business forces you to grow as a leader a lot of times if you're in the right business. And you got to put yourself out there. You got to be in the game, and you got to be around other people who are doing this. If you're open to that, we're actually doing a workshop. If you're listening to this live, we're doing a workshop next week on April 2nd on how you can get your next 5 clients or first 5 clients, but more importantly, the system with which, a simple and straightforward system with which you can improve rapidly in the coaching business. You don't have a lot of time left when it comes to how the economy is functioning, whether you're trying to hold on to the job or your business is slowly growing at the pace that it was. So if you want to be part of a community who's actually helping you build this process, just join us on this free call. It's a 2 hour live interactive session. We're going to actually break down everything, answer your questions, and take you through that process that all our clients are using to move forward and we have used to build our business and grow them.
And continue to
Uh,
use today.
yeah, continue to use today. And do you have the link, Daniel?
At cmc.coach/workshop.
Yes. So cmc.coach/workshop. If you happen to watch this afterwards, which this podcast gets aired a few weeks afterwards on our YouTube, uh, definitely join our community, cmc.coach. Is that right?
Yes.
Without any forward slash.
Our free community you can join at cmc.coach. Our
Right.
workshop that Faisal was talking about is /workshop
Yeah,
after
so
that.
this afterwards, if you're joining, if you watch this on YouTube, just join our community because that's where we announce all the workshops, all the fun stuff, all the support that we give. So definitely join that. It's a free community. We broadcast this podcast live, get a lot of value just being part of the community. Even if you don't join our paid membership, you get a lot of support and lots of things that you can actually use and move forward.
Awesome. All right. Well, thanks for the great conversation around AI, Faisal. There's so much more to explore here as to how we can prepare for the coming AI, as well as how we can leverage AI today to enhance what we're trying to do in the world. So, thanks for a great conversation.
You too. Super excited for the next one. Hope you all have an incredible day. Bye.
All right. See you later. Bye.